Another issue, which of course is a problem, is the view in the West right now about the supposedly limited impact, not only of the Russian aggression against Ukraine, but also the economic sanctions which have been undertaken mainly by Western governments against Russia and increasingly against countries which are seen as friendly to Russia. The latest sanctions, for example, against Chinese officials is a case in point. Now, in the US particularly, there is the view that Russia is no more than a gas station for Europe. But in fact, Russia supplies a great number of mainly commodities to the rest of the world, and this is extremely important. So we find, for example, that most of the wheat supplies to countries, especially in South Asia and Western Asia and West Asia, but also in Africa, especially North Africa, rely very, very heavily not only on Russian wheat exports, and Russia is the #1 wheat exporter in the world, but also Ukrainian wheat exports. These are all being affected by the current strife, and it's very important for us to recognize that this view that economic sanctions do not adversely affect other countries, no collateral damage is being inflicted, is a false view. Food as well as fertilizer, especially for Asia and Africa, as I emphasized, supplies have both declined, and there is a significant increase in prices. In fact, if the sanctions continue, it is likely that these prices will be protracted. Price increases will be protracted. This obviously has very important implications for food security, for improved nutrition, particularly in the developing world, and especially in the poorest countries, which unfortunately have been deprived of the opportunities to maintain food security by the trade liberalization which has been going on in recent decades. All this basically implies that central banks all over the world are coming under pressure to raise interest rates. And but I think anybody who looks at the logic of that argumentation will certainly have to question it. When the prices have gone up because of supply side disruptions, one has to recognize that raising interest rates does not help the problem. It does not free the supply side constraints which have been responsible for raising prices. So it's extremely important, therefore, for developing countries to reject this kind of approach, of a knee-jerk approach, which continues to affect a great deal of thinking about monetary policy at the international level as well as at the national level. The pressure for higher interest rates is not, it cannot simply be dealt with simply at the national level. There's a great deal of pressure to raise interest rates which comes from abroad, and this is hugely problematic as developing countries try to cope with this situation.